but receiving the news there is just a sad moment in our life. So today we are celebrating his legacy. We have outlined all our scholars and our speakers. So without further ado, we invite my beloved Professor Dawood Hidabi to moderate the session. Prof. Dawood.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Dear brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To me, it is a great event. Abu Sulayman, in fact, did not leave us, but he's still living with us. His thought, his ideas, his legacy is living with us, helping to guide us. And in fact, he has merged both theory into practice. He acted on what he believed in. And alhamdulillah, we can see the University IIUM as one of the outcomes of this great man. Today, we have selected only few people to talk about him, simply because they have close contact in one way or another. They have good memories about him, good lessons to hear and to share. And alhamdulillah, many people were willing to come and talk about his legacy, but unfortunately we have a very limited time. And we promise you that we are going to organize an international conference on the contribution of Professor Abu Sulayman. In fact, at the beginning, I would like to invite our dear brother, Dr. Nick Saiful Adidi, to recite the Quran and dua, and then we start our own program. Please, Dr. Nick. Unmute, Brother Shahra.
Sorry, okay. I thought unmute. Okay, Dr. Nick, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Al-Fatiha.
Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولوالدينا وارحمهما كما ربيانا صغيرا ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اغفر لأبينا Professor Emeritus Dato Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman وارفع درجته في المهديين واخلفه في عقبه في الغابرين واغفر لنا وله يا رب العالمين وافسح له في قبره ونور له فيه. Ya Allah, forgive our father, Professor Emeritus Dato Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, and elevate his status and his station among those who are guided. Send him along the path of those who came before, and forgive us and him, O Lord of the world. Enlarge for him his grave, and shed light upon him in it. Allahumma ghfir lahu warhamhu wa'afihi wa'fu anhu wa akrim nuzulahu ووسع مدخله واغسله بالماء والثلج والبرد ونقه من الخطايا كما نقيت الثوب الأبيض من الدنس وأبدله دارا خيرا من داره وأهلا خيرا من أهله وزوجا خيرا من زوجه وأدخله الجنة وأعذه من عذاب القبر وعذاب النار. Ya Allah, forgive him and have mercy on him, and give him strength and pardon him. Be generous to him and cause his entrance to be white. Wash him with water and snow and hail. Clean him of his transgression as white cloth is clean of stains. Give him an abode better than his home, and a family better than his family, and a wife better than his wife. Take him into paradise and protect him from the punishment of the grave and from the punishment of hellfire. Allahumma ghfir lahu, Allahumma thabbithu, Allahumma ghfir lahu, Allahumma thabbithu. Ya Allah, forgive him and strengthen him. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. اللهم لا تحرمنا أجره ولا تضلنا بعده. O Allah, forgive our livings and our deeds, those who are with us and those who are absent, our young and our old, our men folk and our women folk. O Allah, whomever you give life from among us, give him life in Islam, and whomever you take away from us, take him away in faith. O Allah, do not forbid us their reward, and do not send us astray from them. Allahumma inna hadha abduk وحبل جوارك فقه من فتنة القبر وعذاب النار وأنت أهل الوفاء والحق فاغفر له وارحمه إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم. O Allah, surely our father Professor Dato Abdul Hamid is under your protection and in the robe of your security, to save him from the trial of the grave and from the punishment of the fire. You fulfill promise and grant rights to forgive him and have mercy on him. Surely you are most forgiving and most merciful. Allahumma abduk wa banu amatik ihtaja ila rahmatik wa anta ghaniyun an azabih. إن كان محسنا فزد في حسناته وإن كان مسيئا فتجاوز عنه. O Allah, your male slave and the child of your female is need of your mercy, and you are not in need of this torment. If he was pious, then increase his reward, and he has the sins, then pardon him. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
May Allah accept your dua, brother, Dr. Nick. And I would like to apologize for our Professor Abdul Aziz, the Dean of STAC, because he was supposed to give his welcoming speech. But because Prof. Anis Ahmed is busy and got some engagement, I would like to invite Prof. Anis first, who has great, connection with our university, IIM, with Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, and he's got for sure a lot of good memory for us. We have to learn. And currently, as you know, that is the Vice Chancellor of Rafa University, inshallah, in Pakistan. Welcome, Prof. Anis, and the floor is yours.
شكرا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I'm thankful to Triple IT for inviting me to join in this very sincere and deserving program where we are trying to remember our dear brother, Professor Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, and his contribution. No doubt, the death of a scholar is a great setback for the whole Ummah. And Abdul Hamid definitely was a great scholar. I happen to know him when we were both students doing our PhD. He was registered University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and I was with Temple University in Pennsylvania. And he was active in MSA of University of Pennsylvania in West Philadelphia, and I was involved with MSA of Temple University, and the both of us were involved in central MSA for the whole United States and Canada. We organized various MSA conferences together, and for that quite often we had to travel together. While Abdul Hamid was driving, I was sitting beside him with some brothers, and we traveled hundreds of miles together in all kind of weathers, in snow, in summer, in fall. Think of any period, and we were together traveling and involving youth in various parts of the country. Till we came with the idea that we should develop an association of Muslim social scientists, which was established in 1972. And Brother Abdul Hamid was fully involved in every single discussion. Quite often, we had discussions in his home in West Philadelphia and spent hours and hours together. Join in food there, drink tea, keep on discussing and debating. And ultimately, we came up with the idea that we should have from all over America and Canada, through MSA, a searching of social scientists who may join together for this association. We met in Triple IT of IIT Chicago, and there we had our formation of the organization. Professor Ismail al-Faruqi Marhum was elected its president, and I was made its secretary general. And for next 6 years, we remained in same equation. Dr. al-Faruqi as chairman, and myself as secretary general, and Brother Abdul Hamid as executive member. At the same time, we had Dr. Tijani Abu Jaderi, we had Dr. Ilyas Bhai Yunus and Dr. Mahmood Rashdan. All these persons were part of our executive committee at one time or the other. The beauty was that while we were doing it, those who were not social scientists were equally involved. Dr. Hisham Al-Talib and Dr. Ahmad Tutunji were also students at that time, and they joined us. And in every single effort, I cannot recall when Ahmad Tutunji, Hisham, and Jamal Barzanji Marhum, all these persons from engineering background were not involved. Every single effort. It was a joint effort. And ultimately, Allah blessed us with a very dynamic organization which held every year its seminars, in which we organized various groups of social scientists, a group of people who were doing their studies in religious studies, in history, in political science, in sociology, in psychology. Think of any area of social sciences. We made for each discipline a group. But throughout this period, Dr. Abdul Hamid impressed me with his sincerity. Quite often, he will drive to my residence and we will sit on floor and put together our announcements for the AMSS conferences, put on them addresses of people. At that time, we did not have computer. Everything was done by hand. Put stamps on those, then go together to the Central Post Office in Philadelphia and drop the whole bulk there, and then keep on falling on telephone. This was a very difficult time to establish an organization, but Dr. Abdul Hamid was all the time besides me, helping me and myself joining him in this continuous effort. Till Alhamdulillah, we were able to mobilize social scientists from not only America and Canada, but also from the Muslim world. And among those we discovered were Malik Badri, or Jafar, Sheikh Idris, and many others who became icons in their own areas of specialization. While Dr. Abdul Hamid was writing a dissertation, there was hardly an evening when I will not be visiting him at his home. We will discuss together what he was writing, and I was privileged to go over his draft again and again and discuss with him various issues. On some issues, we disagreed. On some, we agreed. But in everything, he was an extremely intelligent, persuasive, and thorough scholar. When the IIIT was established, we were together working on the project, and alhamdulillah, with Professor Al-Faruqi as our guide, we were able to establish the institution. I returned from USA in 1981 to Pakistan and joined Islamic University of Islamabad, which was established in 81, while IIU Malaysia came in 83. So I was involved here, and I was privileged to organize in 1982 conference at international level in which Professor Raji Al-Faruqi presented his paper, Islamization of Knowledge, for the first time in that conference. And then he went to Malaysia, in other parts of the world where he presented same concept. And alhamdulillah, Ismail Faruqi's concept of Islamization got acceptance globally. Nevertheless, in this struggle, it was not just Ismail Raji Al-Faruqi, but a whole team who were together. interacting with him, discussing with him, learning from him, and contributing our ideas in the whole movement. I was privileged to be very close to Shaheed Ismail Raji al-Faruqi, and quite often spent nights in his home, and quite often traveled together with him to various conferences. And similarly with Brother Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman Marhum. The challenge came when he was appointed rector of IIU Malaysia. He made a request to my parent university, Islamic University in Islamabad, that I may be loaned to the university for a while, and they wanted to establish a new program. Fortunately, the university agreed, and I joined Dr. Abdul Hamid as in his team, and Alhamdulillah was helpful in establishing the Faculty of Islamic Revealed Knowledge Human Sciences as its first dean in the university. But during this process, in our syllabi, in our plans, in everything, we had extended discussions. And it was amazing to find out that whether we are talking about political science or economics or international relations, in all these three areas, Abdul Hamid had clarity of vision, and at the same time, he had a breadth of knowledge from Islamic sources. So, Alhamdulillah, we benefit from him, and with his very close association, we were able to establish a new tradition in Malaysia, where a faculty where Islamic revealed knowledge was integrated to social sciences was materialized. It was for the first time an experience. I knew Dr. Abdul Rauf also when he was in Washington. Even when he was director of the Islamic Center, we were very close friends, and I knew him very well. And after him, when Dr. Abdul Hamid took over, the university became a new phase, a new life. And therefore, the credit goes to Abdul Hamid, who was the main driving force in the transformation of educational approach and the priorities of university, where he was more concerned about research and development, and at the same time, materialization of the concept of how we can bring new social sciences based on Islamic values. As I said, it's a very great personal loss to me. From 1969 till 2021, you can count how many years. And nearly same period, but on the other hand, a bit longer, from 1962 till Ismail Raji al-Faruqi was made a Shaheed, I was with him. So these companionships have been extremely valuable, and I think we have lost a great asset of Muslim Ummah. I feel it as a personal loss to me. The last word, I would like to summarize the whole personality of Abdul Hamid. He was a bold person, a critical thinker, but at the same time, a team leader. He had on many issues strong views, but he always respected his team. And quite often when I was dean of the revealed knowledge, there were some tricky issues where others may hesitate, and they will ask me, why don't you talk to Abdul Hamid? And I will go and talk to him and discuss with him, and he will agree on those. Which means he was not stubborn, but strong. Big difference. Stubbornness means what comes to your mind, you stick on it. Strength means what you believe is right, stand for it, argue for it, and if it is proven that you need some modification, you modify it. And that is the character of a true scholar. A true scholar never hesitates in changing his views, improving his views, because truth is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, I believe that as an educationist, as a intellectual leader, as someone who tried to make best use of Turas, but at the same time extend it with the help of modern tools of research. In that respect, Abdul Hamid remains a leader of thought. I will not take much longer time, although I would like to continue further. There are hundreds of memories which are getting agitated by this program you have organized. And I want to recall all of those occasions when we worked together for longer period. But due to shortage of time and my earlier commitment, I feel very much sorry I cannot give more time, but maybe sometime later we can further think about more in-depth analysis and survey of his contribution. His contributions, which will always, inshallah, help him in life hereafter, is one which is triple IT, and the other which is IIUM, where every single minute of his life was spent. He built it with a vision. He led it with dynamism. He gave it a name and a recognition. And all that, inshallah, is going to be recorded in the records of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will become a great source for his forgiveness, for rewarding him in best place in Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all he did for the sake of Islam, and may Allah also allow us to continue this work till we breathe last. A believer has no vacation. There is no break in da'wah. Da'wah means the moment you discover truth, you remain with it till you pass away. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all those who worked with him, who knew him, should follow this approach of working till last breath for Islam and only for Islam. Alameen. And Jazakallahu khair. And may Allah bless all of you who have assembled to pay tribute to my very, very dear brother, whom I miss very much. And I offer my personal condolences to Sister Faiga and the family, whom I have known for a long time, because I lived in his home from morning till evening, enjoyed food there Sister Faiga prepared for us, debated, discussed together. So we were part of a family, not just friends. I always considered myself as a member of family. And same with children. They always call me their uncle and always are very close to me. So I offer my condolences to the family and all those who have been working with him. And again, pray to Allah for elevation of his stations in Jannah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Prof. Anis. Thanks for coming, although you are quite busy. But I would like you also to invite you to our international conference on Abu Sulayman contribution. And I invite all the brothers and sisters here or outside to participate in this conference. It will be, inshallah, next year. So anybody who is interested to write a paper on Abu Sulayman is most welcome. So International Institute for Muslim Unity at IIUM and Triple IT in East and Southeast Asia will work together to organize this conference, inshallah. And the outcome of this conference will be a book about Abu Sulayman contribution, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan, and thank you for coming. May Allah reward you and bless you for what you said. Now I would like to first welcome Sister Muna Abu Sulayman, who just joined recently our meeting. And may Allah forgive and grant mercy and forgiveness to our teacher Abu Sulayman. I would like also to invite Prof. Abdul Aziz. He was supposed to give the welcoming speech as the Dean of STAC, because EMO is part of STAC at the moment. So please, Prof. Abdul Aziz, the mic is yours. And I would like also to invite Dr. Fatmir to also moderate the rest of the speakers' speeches. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. First of all, let me welcome all our professors, doctors, our learned ulama and scholars, especially Prof. Anis, our Ustaz, Prof. Anis. In the 90s, I was a master student during the time of Prof. Anis in IUM here. Welcome, Prof. Anis, and all other scholars who are with us today. In fact, I'm very happy to see this group of people who are with us today. They knew Prof. Abdul Hamid and they worked with Prof. Abdul Hamid, and they have a lot of memories with Prof. Abdul Hamid. We have many deputy rectors here who worked with Prof. Abdul Hamid in many years, inshallah. We have several deans here with us also, and we have some professors and doctors who were during his time. I welcome also Sister Muna for joining us today. I would like to thank the International Institute for Muslim Unity and Triple IT Southeast Asia for organizing this event. It's really a timely event. And I believe that, as Prof. Anis mentioned, Professor Abdul Hamid, like a blessed person, a blessed alim, a blessed scholar. I remember 2 weeks ago when he passed away, and our president and our rector called for memorial also like this one. And I remember at that time, those who were present, we have 4 former rectors were with us during that webinar, and the president of the university. And today we have with us 5 deputy rectors who worked with Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, and several deans who worked with Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman. It's really a great honor for us to gather in this occasion. Now, I would like to just mention a few things about the thought and method of Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, as I know that our professors will speak about memories and experiences with him. For me, I'd like to touch on this institutional memory of this university. When you look at the record of this university from 1983 until today, you will find in the record not only this university nurtured and produced great graduates and alumni, but also this university witnessed the presence of great ulama, great scholars since its inception, especially in the time of Prof. Abdul Hamid and the Triple IT team and those great ulama. In fact, they were able to select the best of the ummah to be in the university, scholars and students. This shows one of the great characteristics and features of Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman as a leader, as a rector, as a scholar, his ability to, to differentiate or to select the best personalities for jobs. The way how he deals with people, the way how he guides and directs people, you sense that this man has really a deep understanding of what he wants to do. And he thinks that this idea of Islamization and managing the university based on the Islamization of knowledge, mission and vision requires great people, requires great personalities. So this is why, brothers and sisters, it's important to understand the thought and ideas and the approaches of Prof. Abdul Hamid within the context of a mission to solve a problem related to the Ummah, starting from his book, Crisis in the Muslim Mind, and then moving to his writings in political international relations, and then economics, and then Wijdan and psychology and emotional intelligence, and then talking about worldview. If you look at the writings of Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman and you want to put them together, you will find that this idea of the Kulliya of Islamic revealed knowledge and human sciences reflects many ideas, many thoughts, many deep thoughts of Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman. He was fond of the idea of integrating knowledge, creating people, nurturing people who know Islamic studies and also know human science and vice versa. This is why, practically speaking, in the university, when he was there, he was also very stressing the idea of major and minor, the idea of lecturers of revealed knowledge should study human science, and the lectures of human science should study revealed knowledge, the idea of teaching people creative and critical thinking, the idea of teaching people parenting and family management, the idea of teaching people worldview, and looking at worldview not only from epistemological perspective, but practical. What can Islamic worldview add to your education, to your personality, to your efficiency, to your work, to your amal? That's why those who read Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman works, you will find that he's trying to integrate between epistemology, Islamization, integration, and also education, and also family, and also personality, and also wijdan, and also values, and all this integrated within the Islamic worldview. So this is one thing which is special, and I hope researchers and scholars and postgraduate students can explore this understanding of worldview, this applied and practical understanding of worldview, of Islamization, of integration, of all these concepts of tajdeed, of asala muasira, contemporary originality, relevantization of Islamic heritage to our time. I think there is a lot to learn from Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, dear brothers and sisters. And I think, as Professor Anis mentioned, and also Professor Dawood mentioned, there should be a kind of a well-organized international conference where we come and study the contributions in terms of methodology, applications, understanding, and so on and so forth. The last thing I wanted to mention here is that it's really important when we study or deal with the Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman to understand that he was not just like a theoretical epistemologue or a kind of abstract person, but as he was given this opportunity to lead the IIUM in Malaysia here, he has accumulated that understanding and knowledge and capabilities and competencies of leading, of managing, of strategic vision. I think he introduced many good things. I just end with one. At that time, I remember he was very stressing about our local staff and student to go and do their PhD, to go and do their master. I remember during my time, 1993, 1994, not many Malaysians were with PhD holders in the university. But he mentioned one time, Inshallah, 20 years from now, we will find all this place full of these Malaysian scholars and master holders and professors and doctors. And that's exactly what had happened. That's actually a visionary leader and scholar. With this one, I thank you all once again for coming and participating in this webinar. May Allah bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Dear professors, doctors, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. And as we have heard that many of you have been companions to Prof. Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, rahimahullah. At the same time, many of us have been his students, and I do consider him as my teacher as well as father. Now, we have come to this program in order to commemorate and remember his achievements and his contributions. As it was said once to me that wherever you go in IUM, you see Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, rahimahullah. So that is what he has left behind. Now, here I would like to remind the speakers that everyone will have 10 minutes. So you know that Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, rahimahullah, will be very much happy as he was very punctual about the time. So now, without any further delay, I would like to invite the first speaker, that is Prof. Dr. Ahmed Faris bin Ismail, Deputy Rector, currently Academic and Internationalization, and he was the former Dean, Kulia of Engineering. And Prof, please welcome. You are going to have 10 minutes to share with us the memories that you have about Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري من لساني يفقهوا قولي. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Respected brothers and sisters, of course, Dr. Fatmir as the moderator and others, Prof. Aziz, I think, and others. I'm very happy to see everybody here this, evening, especially some of our old colleagues. I think good to see, especially as I think we see just now Professor Anis and others. So I guess. First of all, of course, I think our condolences, ta'ziah to the family of our great scholar and also murabbi, mentor, good example. Professor Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, Allah yarhamu. May Allah forgive him, bless his soul, and grant him Jannah for all the good works, good amal saleh that he has done. So, Alhamdulillah, I think he has done his job. Now, I think we have to carry on with the amanah. I guess to share my memory with him, I first met Professor Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman in Herndon, Virginia, US, in Triple IT office in 1992, summer of 1992. I was doing my PhD at that time. And then I think at that time, being at that time attached already to IUM, I think they conducted a program where all the staff who are on study leave, we in US, Northern America, I think we met him in Virginia. So from that point, when I met him, of course, I think we spent a couple of days, at least 2 days, listening to him explaining the Islamization, the integration. So it's like a crash course for us. So that was also the first time that I was exposed, to this mission. And I saw in his speeches and the way that he presented it, very passionate, very visionary, very focused. Have a very clear direction that he would like to go. Okay, so that was my first encounter. So I got a very good impression of very visionary man, disciplined, focused, and of course, a good leader. And then, of course, after that, I think I completed my PhD. And then when I came back in late 93, then at that time, the Kuliah of Engineering was about to begin. So my next memory with him is when he called some of us. I was at that time a very young, naive person, we were called to his office very late in the evening, almost 6 p.m. So I think this is quite normal with him. I think we always have very late meetings with him. Of course, in the room, Prof. Anis was there, together with Prof. Kamal, Prof. Dr. Sufyan El-Hayim, and a few more was there. This happened, I think, beginning of 1994. And then we supposed to start our engineering program in July 1994. And he started the meeting posing a very straightforward question to us. He said that since now we are going to have engineering at IIUM, how will this engineering program at IIUM will be different from engineering programs at other universities? So we cracked our head. We were not ready for that question. So that's why we spent, I think, about 1 hour, 2 hours deliberating that issue. Okay, of course, I don't have time to go into the details of the meeting, but it was a very challenging meeting, thought-provoking. We have to answer his question. He said that if our engineering program will be just the same as others, do not do it. We are wasting our time. So that's why I think this idea of integration, idea of Islamic perspective, so on and so forth. And as a matter of fact, his vision, more or less, I think one way of our new Kuliah of Engineering at that time subscribed to his mission and vision. I mean, by organizing our first international conference in 1996. And the first international conference is not about engineering specifically, but it was about values and attitudes in science and technology. So I think from day one, I mean, we were very clear. I mean, when we're talking about even the physical science, engineering, science and technology, we are talking about these values, value-based. So I think this from day one, I think our Allah Yarham, Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, I mean, stress that point, I think from day one. And of course, when engineering Kuliah started, I think by accident, I became the first deputy dean. Of course, the dean at that time was Professor Imtiaz, another colleague of Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman during his MSA days in North America. So I accidentally became the deputy dean. And at that time, I remember, I think Datuk Jamil is here, the Senate at that time, each Kuliah is represented by 2 persons, dean and deputy dean. So from that point, I have been attending the Senate meeting with him, with our former rector. I mean, and of course, I have been attending many other meetings with him. Okay, so in the few minutes left I have.
Prof, you have 2 minutes, Prof.
Yeah, so one thing, I think maybe my other colleagues also will share the same thing. In most of our meetings, the former rector Dr. Abdul Hamid always reminded us about very focused same issue. And I think it ingrained into our brain until today. So I say that it's like a brainwash. Like, for example, he's talking about the importance of building the next generation. He always mentioned that. I mean, he said that, forget about my generation. The ummah is in mess. Let's talk about the next generation. Let's work together, come up with a good program, good curriculum for next generation. This is the same message that he is always repeating. And of course, he believed very much in experiential learning. I mean, not only theory, not only preaching, but by giving examples. And of course, he always stressed the importance of the holistic personality. I mean, meaning that I think to his mind, I mean, how can we can have an education where not only you become a good engineer, good medical doctor, good economist, good lawyer, but at the same time, you must be also good ulama, know the Quran, know the Sunnah. These are the holistic personality that he said that we have to build. The next future leaders of the Muslim Ummah. And of course, I agree with Prof. Anis about his ijtihad. He made a lot of, his critical thinking, come up with, thought-provoking ideas. I always remember one challenge. He said that, because my understanding before I met him and many other scholars, we said, for example, like issue of riba. One day he said that, is it fair, brother? He said, if let's say you loan, you borrow the money 10 years ago, 1,000 ringgit, and today you just pay 1,000 ringgit. Is it fair? Okay, so is it fair? He's always asked us questions so that we can think, so because our understanding riba is, you borrow 1,000, you must pay 1,000. But how about inflation? How about that sort of thing? He always challenged our mind. Okay, let me just end. So, of course, I spent with him. After that, of course, from Deputy Dean, I became the Dean. And then, of course, I spent with him many, many times. And towards the end, I just want to share with you, towards the end, at that time, I think he already had a temporary office at the law faculty at that time. Because our main building was not ready yet at the time, so he was having a temporary rector, because he's having two offices, one in PJ and one in Gombak in the law building. So towards the end, I think I can see that the vision stay, meaning that for him, he said that he is not concerned about personality, he's not concerned about individuals, but he is concerned about the IUM as an institution. He said that this institution must go on. The personality may come and go. So I think he has a very, and alhamdulillah, I think with his dua and with his support, with his assistance, alhamdulillah, I think IUM still stand until today. And of course, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I think all the good deeds that are done at IUM, I think he will get the ajar, inshallah, because of all his efforts in setting up this university. Okay, thank you very much. I think I'm out of my time. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Barakallah fiqh, Prof. Farid. Barakallah fiqh. Thank you very much. So we'd like to invite the second speaker, that is Prof. Emeritus Dato Wira, Dr. Haji Jamil bin Haji Osman. He is the director of IIIT in the Southeast Asia, and he was the former rector and CEO of Insania University College, as well as former Deputy Rector Academic Affairs 1999-2003 in the IUM, former Dean of Admission and Records Division in IUM. Please, Prof, you have 10 minutes. Tafadhal.
Thank you, Dr. Fahmi.
Welcome.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Professor Dr. Faris, our Deputy Rector of Internationalization and Academic. Professor Dr. Aziz, very good, the Dean of ISTAC.
Dato, please on video, Dato.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Professor Daud, the Director of IMO, Professor Anis, Professor Datuk Syed Arabi, and Sister Mona, our guest speaker today, and other brothers, Professor Asmawi, Professor Tahir, Professor Osnani, Professor Shukran, and all the others. Brothers and sisters, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Dr. Daud from IMO and Brother Shahran from TPIT for taking the initiative to hold this important event, memorial webinar, to honor our beloved brother. He's a friend, a scholar, a teacher, he's a leader, Professor Emeritus Dato, Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, the former rector of IUM, and the former president and chairman of the TPIT. The demise of our dear Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman is a great loss to the Ummah, particularly the TPIT and IUM community. These were the two institutions which he was associated with and where his mission and dream had materialized. He initiated the reform of Islamic education, not only through his famous writing, The Crisis in the Muslim Mind, and revitalization of the higher education in the Muslim world, where the case study of International Islamic University and Islamization of knowledge and others. But he had implemented his ideas through these two Islamic institutions. His ideas and effort in the reform of the Ummah that can be seen through the product of thousands of young students from hundreds of countries that graduated from IUM and held important positions in their countries. To me, Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman is not only a scholar and a thinker, but also a practitioner, although in medical, what they call practitioner, but the one who practiced his profession. So he strongly believed, as many people say, that that one of his ingredients in the reform of the Ummah, he strongly believed that in economy, in social, politics, religion, politics, leadership, is through educational reform. So I knew Dr. Abdul Hamid since 1988, when he came to Malaysia on being appointed as director of IUM. And I was very fortunate to be working with him as the Dean of Admission and Record Division for almost 10 years. And my wife worked as his secretary during the whole period of his tenure as director of IUM from 1988 to 1998. He was just like an elder brother to us. I learned so much from him, and particularly his sincerity, as has been mentioned by Anis and all the others, commitment in his work. He worked without any personal interest, and he had always looked for the fast results and quick action. For him, nothing is impossible. Whatever that he wants us to do, you can do it. Nothing is impossible. And there are many occasions I can share with you. But he developed IUM to be a fully integrated international Islamic university in terms of academic, in terms of student development, and most importantly, the physical campus development, including IT infrastructure. Although he doesn't have that much knowledge, but he could foresee the infrastructure of IT. And I was being appointed the chairman of the first chairman of the IT committee in the university. And he sent me to America, to England, to look at the infrastructure of the fiber optic, and including Singapore. Then I came back and gave a report to him. And the campus development at that time has no covered walkways. So when I mentioned to him that the fiber optic, if you want to cross from the main building to the sub building to the hostel, so they have to cross through the road and so on. They need then sometimes it might be disturbance when the people have the road construction and so on. And it came the idea to him that we can request for the covered walkways by putting the fiber optic on the roof, under the roof of the covered walkway. So he is really a very critical person. So during his time, IUM became the first fully integrated international Islamic university in Malaysia, with full boarding, where 100% of the students live on campus. And Professor Asmawi will tell you how he managed to get the budget for this 100% boarding, whereas all other universities are not. He developed the international image of IUM. That's through debating, public speaking, Arabic and English. During his time, our students most of the time won the World English Debating Competition in the US and Europe. So where the name of IUM is in the limelight compared to other universities in Malaysia or in the Muslim world. So what we have now at IUM is mainly the contribution of Dr. Abdul Hamid for 10 years under his leadership. Thousands of students from all over the world who graduated from this university, I think they will never forget him and his contribution to the Ummah. In 2008, when I was performing my Umrah, I met Dr. Abdul Hamid at King Abdul Aziz University in Jeddah. And I was there when I was there, I received WhatsApp messages from the late Chief Minister of Kedah, Ustaz Azizan Abdul Razak, requesting me to return to my state as director of Insaniyah Islamic University. So I consulted him. He said, Brother Jamil, we have to spread the agenda of Islamization to other universities. You have enough knowledge, you can do it. Please accept this offer, he said. I still remember. And I came back to Malaysia to accept the offer with full confidence. Alhamdulillah, Insaniyah became a fully integrated international Islamic university using the model of IUM. Now it is named as International Islamic University of Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah, or UNISAM, in Kedah. The university conferred Dr. Abdul Hamid an honorary doctorate in education when I was director, and he visited the university new campus in Kuala Katil once in 2011. And he came to the campus. He made some comment when the contractor was still building the great hall. He said, "MashaAllah, you have a very big hall." Then he told the contractor, "You have big hall, but you have small stage. You know, this is a university. When there is a convocation, all the vice chancellor want to sit in front. They don't want to be seated the second row. So you must have a very big stage." He said that. So immediately he called the chief minister, and chief minister called the contractor, the architect also, to expand the stage, to make it bigger. So
we have 2 minutes, Prof.
Yeah, inshallah. So I believe some of you who attended this webinar are product of IUM or had been working with IUM during Dr. Abdul Hamid Sulayman time, 1988 to 1988. Let's remember him and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he will be rewarded for all his good deeds and will be placed in the highest level of paradise in the hereafter, inshallah. And thank you to all of you, and thanks to Mona for being able to be with us tonight. And please convey salam from me and Sister Zoraida to your mom, Latin Faika, Brother Aiman, and your sisters. Wabillahi taufiq. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. Thank you very much, dear Prof. So now I would like to invite Prof. Emeritus Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain. He is the Chief Executive of Al Madinah International University, former Dean of ISTAC, and he was the former Deputy Rector, Planning and Development, and former Dean of Kulia of Architecture and Environment Design. Fatafaddal mashkuran. You have 10 minutes, dear Prof.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everybody. I must start by saying thank you very much for inviting me to this occasion, this event this evening. And I feel very honored because of this invitation. As I think I'm probably the one who has spent the least number of years with him. But I came to know him so much because even though the time that I spent with him was less than 3 years, something like that. Now, in 1995, I was invited to join the team that actually developed the curriculum or the curricula for the Kuliah of Architecture, the proposed Kuliah of Architecture at that time it was called. And that was my first time that I met him, even though I have read some of his writing before that. And also I have heard about him before that. And it was actually quite a shock for me when he invited me to join IIUM and become the first dean of Kuliah of Architecture. Of course, in the beginning, I just refused because I thought I wasn't suitable for that. I was probably very inexperienced at that time. But somehow, him and Prof. Kamal persuaded me to take it up for 2 years initially. But at the end of the day, I never went back to my former university because I got so involved with IIUM. And I was involved in many areas. I was invited initially as the dean to start the Kuliah of Architecture. But after just a little bit more than a month, I suddenly was appointed also as the executive director of development for the campus. And it was really a shock for me because when he called me, because at that time I was always in the office. I even slept in my office as my family was still in Johor Bahru. And I rented a room in Petaling Jaya, but I very seldom go back to my room, and I always slept in my office then. So he called me after the Maghrib and said that he got the permission from the president then for me to be appointed also as the executive director of development. I was, as I said, very, very shocked. Actually, I pleaded with him to find somebody else, and I even cried. You know, I cried the whole night because I was so scared, because I knew that he has this vision, big vision about IIUM, not only in terms of its curricula or in terms of the programs that are being offered in the university, but also in terms of the campus that he wants, how the campus that he would like. And it's quite scary to me at that time. So, but at the end of the day, he said, you know, may Allah help you, brother. So there I was. I couldn't say anything. So I started to work on the campus too. And so I was having two jobs at the same time, starting the new Kuliah, and at the same time guiding the development of the campus. And of course, he was there to help me, and he was working very hard. He's actually a workaholic. I never met anybody who worked harder than him. And I actually agreed when somebody said that he was actually married to the university. He was actually married to IIUM because he spent so much time in IIUM than with his family. We even we take time to visit the campus and its construction even during the weekends or even during the public holidays. And he never seems to tire. And I mean, looking at his body, I thought he would have difficulty in walking, but he was more fit than me in terms of walking around the campus, and he was very detailed in what he wants and he observed and whatever. So working with him was a lot. I think a very how would I say it, is really a good learning experience, because sometimes you take things for granted, but for him, everything is important. The color, the material use, and everything. He even designed the furniture for the classroom and for the seminar rooms. And he will ask me to draw them up, and he would comment on it, and even to that detail. So I think that those are things that you learn from, that you never really do, because all the time you thought that it is the consultant's job. But he was always saying that we are there to guide the consultant to do the project, and other than that, he actually find ways of how to do things differently. And as Prof. Jamil was saying, he came up with the idea of this covered walkway and putting all the cables under the roof of the walkway rather than in the ground. And he thought things in detail, like, for example, the safety of the student crossing the road. And so we have to build this tunnel that goes under the roads in IIUM, and the student will pass through it safely, and many other things he actually did. And he was visionary in terms of the construction of the campus. There are a lot of things that he looked into. He even looked into the idea of even things like, for example, the material of the roof. And when I was asking him why we are not using the roof that is normally used, roof tile that are normally used by other people when they build the building, he said, brother, this is a hot country. We need something that will cool the building down or keep the building cool. So at the end of the day, we actually use the clay tile rather than the concrete tile. The concrete tile will make the building hot and will need a lot of air conditioning. But the clay tile will actually absorb the heat during the day and release it during the night. So when I was doing the project for the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, I used that idea. The idea that we need to actually absorb the heat during the day and release it slowly during the night. And some of my friends made the remark that when they pass by the area of IUM on the highway, they will see that the roofs are glowing during the night. And that's because the heat is coming out. And, people like Abdul Hamid, who has no background in architecture, can come up with such an idea. And I think it's really fantastic. It's a fantastic learning process. And as I said, he was a workaholic. He looks at everything, the color. I remember the color of the mosque. We made the sample, I think, about 10 times before he decided on what is that bluish color of the mosque of IIUM. And as I said, he worked even during the weekends. So I also seldom have weekend because he would call me. And I remember one incident when we had this public holiday, which is Taipusam. And my family was still in Johor, so I went back to Johor for the weekend. He suddenly, in the morning of Saturday, he called and said, brother, we have a meeting this afternoon. And I said, but today is Thaipusam, brother. I said, I thought you are not Hindu. So I had to fly back to KL and meet him for a discussion on the campus because somebody was coming to see the campus. Subhanallah, and I really love working with him. And you see, he translate his idea of Islamization into physical aspect, into the physical form of the campus, and he was actually thinking about how to accommodate the weather of Malaysia, like for example the hot and the rainy weather. And he said, and so we came up with the idea that all the buildings in the campus would be linked up either at the ground level or at the higher level, so that when it rains, you can actually walk from one building to another without going into the rain, or even walk from one place to another without going to the hot sun, if you are okay with walking around. And he said, Malaysian people are lazy to walk, so, but we must train them to do that. And when we had this mahala of the female student on the hill, because he said, the female students should be on the top, so that and not the boys mahala, so that the boys will not be able to see the female student. But I told him that, I said, it will be a difficulty for the girls to walk up the hill to their mahala. He said, brother, that will keep them slim. The girl like to be slim. We came up with this idea of building this staircase that connect the road, the circular road to the mahala. And he said that that's a good way of keeping them fit, So he was thinking all these details. And other than that, I think for my kuliah itself, which is Kuliah of Architecture and Laboratory Design, it actually attracted personal attention from him, because he actually believed that, one of the manifestation of Islam or Islamic civilization is in its architecture. And he always reminded me that one of the vision for the kuliah, or the aim of the kuliah, is actually to get back, or to recapture the the level of architecture that was in the Islamic civilization before, in a modern time, So he even thought about how technology should be involved and whatever, and he always discussed with me about the curriculum of the kuliah. So he actually is very, not only very detailed, but very forward-looking, and other than that, I think he's also a man of what I would call he actually believes in different opinion, as Prof. Anis said. He respects different opinion, and he would discuss with you. But one must be very prepared to discuss with him. Then he will get a lot of things from him, and one cannot just listen. Many people just, when they go to him, they went to him, they just listen to him and they just nod their head. That's not Abdul Hamid. Abdul Hamid is the type of person who actually wants you to give your input and feedback on the ideas that he put forward, and it's your job actually to make things into detail and to do the practical part of it. And so we need to be coherent in the ideas.
Dear Prof, the time is over, please. Huh?
Yeah, okay. And I think, lastly, I would say that he's a great leader. I learned a lot from him. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, dear Prof. Thank you very much. Due to the time limit, so your experience is, mashallah, very good. So we learn a lot. But because of the time limit, so that's why I have to do my job as a moderator. I believe you understand, Prof. So now I would like to invite another professor of ours, Prof. Emeritus Dato, Dr. M.D. Tahir bin Mohammed Azhar, special appointee IUM Gombak Campus, Office of Ombudsman and Integrity, former Deputy Rector, Academic Affairs Division, and he was former Director of IUM Kuantan Campus. Please welcome. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Alaikum salam. Yes, Prof. We can hear you.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. So, greetings to everyone. Thank you very much for having me for this very august occasion. Let me just speak on this big mountain. If we are talking about mountain, this is a mountain we are talking about. If it is a river, it is the longest river. And for in him is an embodiment of integrity, sincerity, and high intelligence. This is him. And further, over and above that, he is a man of action. He is a man of practicality. And he is a man of simplicity. Now, we cannot say all this without giving some proof, some examples. What are the manifestations of all this in this man? And I can only give examples that are reflected in my experience, in my interaction with him, which is quite a bit when I was appointed as the Dean of Medicine. Now, the first example is that his words, his maxims, he will say very freely at meetings or any discussion, he will say, somebody has problem when he says he has no problem. So you think deeply and you know that there is a whole lot of truth in that kind of maxim. Another example is when he interviews lecturers for the university or whichever faculty. I used to be invited by him to be one of the interviewers, although I know nothing about fiqh and sunnah and tafsir. But the question that he asked the interviewees are such that you know that this one is going to get it, the other one is not going to get it. Examples are like this. Ustaz, he will say, tell me the difference between a school teacher and a university lecturer. And then the person will be saying all sorts of things, and he made up his mind whether this is a material for university or not. Then there was one instance where he actually defined something which until today I felt it. That is the generous use of the word brother. He says, everybody here, students, lecturers, hello brother, hi brother, how are you brother? He said, if you really know the meaning, what a brother is, you will stop fooling around. You will not be using that word very liberally without meaning it. What he really wants is that if we say really, my brother, your brother, yes brother, that you really mean that you are a brother to oneself, meaning that you will protect the brotherhood and go with the same idea and struggle for the same thing like brothers, real brothers, is it? So these are some of the maxims that he exhibited that gives a big impact on whoever is engaging or discussing with him. Now, I said earlier, he's a man of action. Let me show you just with one or two examples where he demonstrated that he's a man of action. There was an incident of a librarian slapping a student for some problems in the library. And that was relayed to him. And you know what he said? It was proven that, and the fellow admitted he slapped the girl for something. He said, he told MSD to sack him. You know how long it takes to stop a worker from a university now, or if it was not him, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, going through the process. No, he did it within 24 hours. He said, you can do all the procedures, but sack him. He has got no place to be in an Islamic university and slapping people for whether they make mistake or no mistake. No. And he's a man. And the student was a girl. So on many counts, he said, I cannot tolerate that. And he just sacked. And nothing happened. He was sacked. So man of action, swift. And he can defend it. And then there was another instance which, to me, demonstrated his deep understanding of people's concept, behavior, and character. You see, I was made to present the medical program in the Senate with him as the chairman. And he wanted to cut it short. I think he trusted whatever has been done. It's okay. And he said this, before you go on and on, he said to me in front of all the Senate members, I don't know what you're talking about. Do you all know? He asked the others, do you understand what he's saying? Well, you don't know. I don't know. He says he knows. Let him do his work. We do our work. So what would have been half an hour, 1 hour of presentation, he got the presentation on papers anyway, and that which you can read later. And the whole discussion was made brief and no time wasting. So I said, this man he could see through the wall. So such is his character, a man of action, practicality, simplicity, with very high intelligence. Now, Prof. Ismawi just now spoke about how he designed the university. That is an understatement because he designed everything. From, it was mentioned, from the toilet hose to the lavatory, to the chairs, to the window frame, of course, to the tiles and everything. And this is the only university with Shanghai plaster on the wall. Why? He said, any other thing, paints or whatever, you have to repaint, and the money to be used for that is many times over if you just put Shanghai plaster once. You don't need to maintain it, you don't need to paint it, you don't need, it lasts forever. And you can see how many times you have been painted since it was made. No. So this is a man who knows that he was not what you call penny wise, pound foolish. So in him, actually, you can see a man of attention to details, principled in his approach to anything. And above all, it is not for him, it is for others. I will conclude that he is true to himself, true to all the rest that he interacted with, and true to Allah. And what more you can ask to be associated with? I am so fortunate that I was able to associate and have known such a man who left such a legacy in the university. And the last time when he left the chair of the university as rector was he called me and showed the letter from somebody very famous. I think that man, very famous, fined about 140 million or something recently because Abdul Hamid was very honest. He wrote a letter to the president of the university at that time to say that he has been rector for so long, for that length of time. If there is any need for any change or whatever, it is the president's prerogative. And the president wrote back, he showed me the letter. He said, thank you very much for your services all this while. And he was taken aback. He was being polite and being frank and being practical, and his simple, sincere mind. And that was what he got. So he was flabbergasted too and sad. But it is something later, when we think about it, something to be expected from such a situation. After that, we met a few times, one in my house for tea and another time for dinner brought by Shahrin. And the last time was, and after that in Riyadh, in Jeddah, in his house. And the last time was when he and with Prof. Rosnani, he was still contributing and active in the Islamization program of the university. I thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about this great man. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Barakallahu Fik, dear Prof. Barakallahu Fik. We appreciate very much. And I would like to invite another professor, Professor Dr. Osnani Hashim, Professor and former Dean and Director for Center for Teaching and Thinking, Kuliah of Education, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Please, Prof, welcome. You have 10 minutes to share with us your wisdom, that whatever you had with Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman. Tafadali.
Thank you, Brother Fatmir. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I felt so overwhelmed by what Prof. Tahir has mentioned, because I testify to all what he has said. He's such a great man, and I don't know when we will be able to see another one the like of him. So first, I'd like to thank the organizer for inviting me to honor our dear Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, Almarhum, the architect of IUM, not only in terms of academic programs and the curriculums and so on, but even to the extent of the hardware, the building itself. So he is alive with us actually. Whenever we walk into the building, every nooks and corners, he's there actually, if we care to think about it. And I think his demise was a sad day for all of us, and our honoring him is a way to show our appreciation of his service to the Ummah, and a prayer to Allah to bless, forgive, and have mercy on his soul. Rahmatullah alayhi. I've always regarded Almarhum as my father, or elder brother, or mentor. After having worked with him from 1988 to 1998, minus 3 years for my PhD, and I regarded him and Almarhum Professor Jamal Bazinji, Professor Malik Badri as my elders who were exemplary and giants. Prof. Tahir used mountain. I would say they are giants to me. Okay, they have encouraged me. I thought I was the only female among the only rose among the thorns. Okay, in many occasions. Okay, so these people have encouraged me to execute my task as best as I can, and I'm just trying to tread in their path. I joined IUM 1987, just about the same time he joined IUM, and he was very serious in having excellent academic staff for IUM, and he gave me his first push to excel by sending staff to study abroad. So whether I like it or not, I have to go abroad, and USA was his choice because of his PhD program with coursework. It was hard when you have a big family with 6 children, young children, and have to be separated at first due to proper accommodation, but I've never regretted this move. I got to know him more closely when I returned and was appointed as the assistant head of the Department of Education, and then the head of the department in 1994 and 1995 respectively. I realized that Prof. Abdul Hamid aspired for the Department of Education to be the best, because he has such high hope that education can transform people in the Ummah. So I see him as someone very innovative and very dedicated and very passionate about education, not just university education, but all levels of education, because he really felt that this can change the Ummah. So the first task, among the first tasks that I had to undertake was the setting up of the IIS, International Islamic School Malaysia, under the Gombak Educational Center for Development by the Yasin Babu at that point of time, so that our expatriates do not have to worry about their children when they teach in IIUM. And he was very persistent in getting the correct people, and we got Dr. Fida Al-Fardi and Dr. Frida Sharma from the US to work with our professors on this project, especially in terms of the curriculum. And the school opened in Batu 11 Gombak when the Department of Education, which occupied that building, moved to the Gombak campus in 1996. So we stayed with Kuliah of Engineering for a while. And then later, through his dedication on the project and financial support from the university, the school moved to its present modern campus in Sungai Pusu. Today, I think Almarhum Abdul Hamid, Prof. Abdul Hamid, can stand tall for having established IISM, which is now about 25 years, which cater not only for IIM staff as it used to, but for all expatriates in the country and also to the local. And the school itself has produced many great alumni, because they are mostly children of our staff. And then after IISM, Almarhum did not stop thinking about education. He called me up and talked to me about the needs to have education for preschoolers and toddlers. Imagine that. How many rectors or vice chancellors would do this? Thinking about establishing something for preschoolers and toddlers. So he asked the Department of Education to shoulder the responsibility. First, we had to find a good model and a wholesome curriculum. I remember working with the committee on this project, which included then Professor Zaliha Kamaruddin. And then we set up the Center for the Child Development Learning Center, we call it. We had a committee with Dr. Zaliha Ishaq from IUM, Education, Kuliah Department then. And then it became Educare. He cared very much for early childhood education because he knew its impact on the children's future life. Although he was not a specialist in education, he was a great believer in the role of education to transform. After that, there was another thing that he focused on. He was focused on the needs of the IIM students, undergraduate student itself. Again, he was concerned for their holistic education, that he wanted them to be good parents in bringing up their children. This led him to propose to the department to come up with a course on parenting. He wanted to make it compulsory for all students in future, but begin as an elective course. So we fulfilled his wish, and the course was created, approved, and parked under Professor Jamal Bazinji's General Studies Department. In fact, we had lecturers recruited and also other lecturers from Coed shared to teach this course. However, I think not many of us are like Almarhum Professor Abdul Hamid and does not share his vision. Today, this course has been handed to a co-curricular unit and taught by staff who volunteered. I don't know how it is now, but I remember in the first year, the students enjoyed the course. Even the male students enjoyed the course. And I even got a gift from in-team musical group when they first recorded their song, because one of the team singers who was a person that I taught in the parenting class. Remember the song Bulan Bulan Islam? That is one of the record that they gave me. Okay, during these years, since 1996, Almarhum has also trusted me with the IOK mission of IUM, and thus I was among the team who went with him to several cities in Indonesia and in Philippines to share the concept and practice with our brethren there. The greatest part of Abdul Hamid is that he carried the mission of IOK in the curriculum wonderfully. He scrutinized course outlines, not on the technical, like what most people would do. He spent more time on the content and the references. This is something very academic and very scholarly. And he also implemented projects and recruits good scholars to teach in the university, which, whether we realize it or not, helped to booster the image and reputation of this university worldwide. And to do this, he got financial support to help the international student from the Arab world. And one of his favorite expressions that I remember when I interact with him at the end of the meeting, after discussion about those projects or those missions, he would say, "May Allah help you, sister."
Dear Prof, another 2 minutes.
Huh?
You have another 2 minutes, dear Prof.
Okay, I almost finished now. That is Almarhum Abdul Hamid that I know. Very hardworking, very patient, never show his anger, always smiling. And then I believe he treated ladies much more honorably and gently. I felt that because there were not many ladies then in the administrative position. Okay, however, I'd like to share one thing that happened that shows his openness of mind. This is in relationship to the Department of Education there. I was always sometimes I accompanied the head of the department to the Senate meeting, Dr. Dahnil. Okay, and I realized that whenever I attended the meeting, he always looked down upon the Department of Education and also my boss. And all of a sudden, I was appointed to be the head. So I picked up my courage, went to see him. I told him, Prof, if I will agree with the appointment of me as the head of the department, if you can do one thing. I told him, please don't ridicule the department or look down upon the department in the Senate meeting, because I felt that what he did brushed on to the other deans and the other heads, okay? And they start looking down upon the Kuliah of Education. Of course, we know that we have many, since we only began with the Diploma in Education program, we have many retirees without any PhD, okay? And we have retired professors who are well known, like Prof. Hassan and Prof. Tan Long. But the rest are all very, very young, and that's why he wanted all of us to go and do our PhD as soon as we can. And I thought he would be very angry when I said that to him. He would not be happy. He didn't promise me anything, but I noticed that he never looked down and never ridiculed the department after that, So may Allah bless him for his openness and willingness to listen to a sister's view. It meant a big thing for us, and Alhamdulillah, the stature of the department grew in his remaining years until Prof. Kamal granted our proposal to be a kuliah in 1999, but unfortunately, it was rejected by MUI. Personally, I felt an emptiness after Al-Mahum left the university in 1998. It was as though he had left us, because he had given so much for education and was there as a leader of the university, at least to me, especially from the kuliah. His character is what, like Prof. Tahir mentioned, it's very difficult to find someone like him, like Prof. Ismawi mentioned. I'm glad tonight that I'm able to meet Prof. Tahir here online with Prof. Ismawi. I miss the company that we had, because this was the first generation of leaders that worked with Al-Mahum Prof. Abdul Hamid Sulayman, and we were very close, I think. And of course, Alhamdulillah, Prof. Kamal took over this mission. And actually, he did not stop thinking about education and transformation. And I was given a big surprise when I was given a copy of the book on parenting, which he wrote with Dr. Hisham Al-Talib, long after that. He's truly an example of a Muslim scholar thinking about the Ummah and how to improve their lives through education till the end of his life. He has a personal touch too. He always sent Eid greeting annually without fail. This is something that I really appreciate, because although it was 20 years ago, whenever Eid comes, he will send the greeting. I feel very touched by his gentle soul. Okay, so may Allah reward him and with the invitation of the soul of the Mutmainnah to enter his paradise. Give Al-Mahum the highest Jannah among the Anbiya, Siddiqeen, Shuhada, and Solihin. And may Allah bless his family, especially Sister Faika, and also Sister Mona, who is here tonight. We will always forever remember and treasure him in our dua. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Allahumma amin. Dear Prof, thank you very much, Prof. Rastani. Thank you very much. So now I would like to invite Prof. Dr. Shukran bin Abdul Rahman. He is currently the Dean of the Kuliah of Islamic Review of Knowledge and Human Sciences, IIUM. And when I look at the background, so I found that he has 2 bachelor degrees in IIUM, 1 Bachelor of Islamic Review Knowledge and Heritage, another 1 Bachelor of Human Science in Psychology. So that is, mashallah, that is great. So welcome, Prof. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Fatmir. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu. Thank you, Dr. Fatmir. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin. Dear professors, my teachers, Professor Jamil, Professor Anis, is he still around? Professor Tahir, Professor Ismawi, Professor Rosnani, Professor Said Arabi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to all of you. First, on behalf of the Kulliyah of Islamic Arabic Knowledge, I would like to record our utmost condolences to the family members of Al-Marhum Professor Emeritus Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman on his demise. We are glad to know that Sister Mona is with us tonight. Second, thank you for inviting me to join this tribute. I feel so very small here. I can just agree. I want to agree with whatever mentioned by the previous speakers, and I am very fortunate actually because I am one of the beneficiaries, I must say, to the good work of Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman. Right? I would like to share with you that I belong to the first batch of Kulliyah of Islamic Arabic Knowledge graduates. I joined the Matriculation Center in 1989. So we studied many things. So we studied languages, Arabic, English, at great extent, right? As if we had to start from Alif, Bata, or ABC. We studied pronunciation, we studied grammar, we studied composition, we studied subject matters in Arabic and in English. Before this, when we were in school, we studied all in Malay language, something like that. So I think the preparation, the preparatory level that we underwent in IUM was superb. It prepared us to be highly ready graduates or highly ready students when we were entering the university. We met Professor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman in Subang Jaya when we were still matriculation students. So we studied all the curriculum, but when we saw him, when we met him, we were given the mindset. Why we were taught this subject, why we were taught this subject, why we had to master the languages, why we had to do usrah, why we had to do down-to-earth program, why we have to have activities in hostel, right? So he had given us the mindset of what we should be doing as university students, especially in IIUM. So I remember these 4 ideas that we have to deal with whenever we studied in IIUM. One is the sources of knowledge, right? When we studied human sciences or when we studied Islamic studies, for example, so we have to go to various sources of knowledge. The Torah, the Quran, the Sunnah, right? Second is the subject matter. So when we deal with various sources of sources, what are the subject matter that we get? Like when we study psychology, do we only go to the Western literature, or what do we get when we were to source idea, or when we were looking for subject matter in the Quran and Hadith as well, right? So the second one is subject matter, which is richer when we go to various sources, including the Islamic sources. The third one is the values. What are the values that we will be getting when we deal with Western literature as well as the Islamic literature? And the fourth one is the valuable practices. What are the valuable practices? What are the purposes of knowledge that we're learning? Right? So we know that when we study in this university, it is not only to gather or to gain or to earn degree or to be credentialized with degree, but to be equipped with knowledge so that we can become good agent of change and development after we graduate. So we were given of this idea when we saw him. And when we went to Petaling Jaya, so we saw him many times, not in classes, but in ibadah camp, in meetings, right, that we have with him, or we had with him. So what I would like to highlight here is Professor Abdul Hamid saw students, met students, right? And he saw students not only in formal setting, but in informal setting as well. I can still remember students would wait for him at the mosque staircase and walk with him. So they would tell him of their problems of all sorts, and then he would try to solve it. If not by himself, he would delegate it to his officers. And his officers, like Professor Jamil, Professor Anis, would do their best in order to help us, right? Yes, so he's a visionary leader. like the double major program that you mentioned just now, Dr. Fatmir, was very important. It was so forward-looking. Yeah, we know that we had to do minor subject, and that was more of fulfilling the credit hours then. But he gave meaning to that. He said that, yeah, we know Islamic studies, but we need to have al-mu'alat, or the tool to convey the Islamic studies. So it gave meaning to us of why we have to study Islamic revealed knowledge. Yes, I graduated with BIRK. Then there was no fiqh or usuluddin or Quran and Hadith. It was IRK program. And I was recruited to join the university as assistant lecturer. So we were all ready to pursue our studies after if we were selected. Yes, so I went to the interview, but then I think I managed to go through the interview at the kuliah level, but then I was rejected at the university level just because Professor Abdul Hamid wanted me to continue with my second degree. Right. So if without his what we call that motivation, or to some extent force as well, so maybe I wouldn't get that second degree in psychology. And I think this is a forward-looking decision. If without that psychology degree, maybe I couldn't be accepted in the psychology's fraternity now. All right. So yes, that was one in 1994 when I was interviewed and then was asked to do double degree. Yeah, a year after that I graduated, so I went to Australia. Something happened. Our country experienced economic turmoil in 1998, so I was called back. Although then I was about to complete my PhD, I was actually terminated from studies because I've exceeded time. I exceeded the time not because I couldn't complete, but because I've upgraded my degree. So the charge that the university gave to me then was breach of contract. So I came back, we discussed, I went to see Datin Zuraida, asking permission to see Professor Abdul Hamid. So we met, we discussed, and alhamdulillah, like somebody was saying just now, he was not a stubborn person, he was very rational. Okay, so yeah, he approved my appeal, so I could continue and complete my studies with PhD, less than the required time, right? Because of the motivation, because of the idea, because of the inspiration given by Professor Abdul Hamid, Abdul Sulayman. So I'm very lucky, very fortunate, very thankful to Professor Abdul Hamid for his support, for his inspiration, for whatever he has done to me and my friends, right? The first batch of the kuliah. And now I think on behalf of the kuliah, we are very delighted to be informed that the kuliah will be named after Professor Abdul Hamid Abdul Sulayman. And alhamdulillah, this morning in the kuliah management meeting, we have approved the paper, the concept paper, and we will submit it to the University Management Committee for subsequent process. And we will also come up with a fresh shrift for Professor Abdul Hamid Abdul Sulayman. Please feel free to submit your article to our kuliah so that we can include your description of Professor Abdul Hamid in our fresh shrift. So, Dr. Fatmir, that's all from his student. Yeah. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Barakallah fiqh, dear Prof. You have mentioned many important things. I'm very glad to hear that. We are the product of this university. Mashallah, mashallah. May Allah make it easy to achieve what He had in His intention, inshallah. So now, without any, I would like to invite another great professor, Prof. Dr. Muhammad Mumtaz Ali. He is a professor in Usuluddin Comparative Religion, Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. And he joined IUM as an assistant professor in 1987. So our great professor has been here for a long time, mashallah, So I know him, he has been my teacher as well. So I don't have time to say all these things. So without any further delay, I would like to invite Prof. Mumtaz to talk about 10 minutes. Please, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fatmir. Alhamdulillah. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Prof. Yes, Prof. Please, Prof.
Thank you very much. Dear honorable speakers, Sister Mona, and participants. I'm in fact honored and motivated by this invitation to speak about a man of vision, mission, and action plan, who demonstrated throughout his stay in IIUM as its second rector, commitment, dedication, and continuous efforts. He was selfless being. Historian will not complete writing history about IIUM, especially Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman's tenure, without mentioning the contribution of Ansari Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan. What I observed that it was a unique team of Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman as well as Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan, that they translated all their dreams, all their imaginations into an intellectual network. The result of that, the expansion of the university took place and new kuliyas were introduced and many things were achieved. He was not on an official duty in IIUM, but on a mission of Islamization of modern human knowledge. I met him first time in Abha, 1977. I was attending a 15 days Muslim Youth Workshop organized by World Assembly of Muslim Youth. He came to inaugurate the very first day of the workshop and he delivered his speech. I realized the way people honored him and showered their love and affection to him. I realized that he was enjoying a respectful life there in Saudi Arabia. It was only the idea of Islamization of modern human knowledge which brought him here to International Islamic University, Malaysia. He transformed, as I understood, IOK into an applied IOK. Throughout his stay, he impressed me every day. I was never part of any administration at any level, but an ordinary professor, ordinary academic staff. What happened actually, the first month or the second month of his joining IIUM, some Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha came, I did not remember now, I don't remember now. So after Maghrib prayer, my family asked me where we will go and visit. I said, we'll go and visit our new rector. I went to his house. I asked the security guard. Security guard told me that he is alone. His family is not here. I said, okay, you go and tell him that an academic staff with his family is here to greet you in greeting. He immediately invited me and he said, sorry, Dr. Mumtaz, my family is not here. And then he went to kitchen and he served me. And throughout his 10 years, I visited his house with my family for several dinners. And in my ordinary capacity, later on, whenever I took an appointment, rather he motivated me that you are free to talk to me at any time. When the Kuliya of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences were established, the Kuliya formed unit for interdisciplinary seminar. and I was made the coordinator for that seminar. In one of his speeches, I realized that he was emphasizing on intellectual contributions. So I went to his office and I asked him, "Dear brother, are you really serious for this intellectual contribution and intellectual environment in our campus?" He said, "Why not?" "Yes." I said, "Then I request you to attend our seminars." Believe me, my dear brothers and sisters, he started attending our seminar. After that, from the whole university, people used to come to give their seminars in that interdisciplinary seminar. I realized that Islamization of knowledge was for Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman the source of development. What we are talking today about sustainable development. He realized that not only through the educational process, but through the process based on Islamization of knowledge concept, we give education. That education only can produce spiritually oriented youth with excellent moral personality, professionalism, and academic excellence. He emphasized on this aspect. Therefore, he invited in each area of discipline experts from all over the Muslim world who were already committed for Islamization of knowledge. What he did, he recruited the teachers who were already committed. If they were not aware of this or not committed, then he asked them to take a diploma in Islamic revealed knowledge discipline. So IRK lecturers were asked to take a diploma in human sciences, and human sciences lecturers were asked to take a diploma in Islamic revealed knowledge. It was, I think, not concerned just for the education. He was concerned for real development of the Ummah. You see, the booklet which was published in 1982 carries the name of Dr. Ismail Farooqi as its author. But the book which was published after further edition expansion in 1989 by IIIT, there is no name of any author. But in introduction, it is mentioned that this book was re-edited, expanded, new dimensions were added under the guidance of Dr. Abdul Hamid Ahmad Abu Sulayman. The first part of that book, after introduction, talk about Malays of Ummah. And they do not want to see neither Ismail Farooqi nor Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman Ummah as a backward Ummah. They wanted to see Ummah as a developed Ummah. But both of them were very clear in their perception. I feel that their perception is still relevant for all of us.
Dear Prof, you have 2 minutes, please.
Only through the process of Islamization of knowledge, we can transform Muslim youth intellectually and academically. So both of them are gave that, and throughout 10 years, Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman emphasized that all faculties, all kulliyas should go through the process of this Islamization of knowledge. Ismail Farooqi, Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, even Professor Kamal Hassan, in their writings have mentioned it very clearly that no doubt we are starting addressing the issues in social sciences, but all disciplines are subject to Islamization of knowledge framework. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, until his last day, he was committed to this. And I feel that the real tribute to him would be continuation of this mission of Islamization of modern discipline or human knowledge or contemporary knowledge, whatever we say. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us substitute of him. Thousands of people are praying for his success in Jannatul Firdaus. He has excellent place in Jannatul Firdaus. I make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should grant us new leadership, new figures, new human being as Dr. Abdul Hamid Sulayman. Thank you very much once again, Dr. Fatmi, for inviting me to share my humble views with our great scholars and participants. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Amin. Thank you very much, dear Prof. Thank you very much for your great thoughts and ideas about Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman. So now I would like to invite another speaker, Assistant Professor Dr. Mira Saud. She is the head of Department of Social Foundation and Education Leadership, Kuliah of Education, IUM. Please, sister, you are welcome. You have 10 minutes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa sallallahu wa barik ala sayyidina. The mic.
Yes, please, yeah, proceed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa sallallahu wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, Dr. Fatmir, the facilitator for tonight's session, our guest of honor, Sister Mona Abu Sulayman, honorable speakers, sisters and brothers, all those who are present with us today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I think I'm one of those who worked with Al-Marhum, but we worked in a shade. We are not that obvious to people. I mean, I'm not that prominent like Prof. Rosnani and the rest, but we worked with him in other big project that is not known to all. We worked with him in the project of the International Islamic School, Malaysia. Al-Marhum was known to be a thinker, someone who contributed a lot into tertiary education here in Malaysia and elsewhere, but he is not known for his contribution to primary and secondary education. So tonight I'm going to give you a brief idea about his contribution to this sector. Actually, Al-Marhum, no doubt he is a great man, and all of us, we agree that he contributed a lot to the Muslim Ummah. May Allah, inshallah, have mercy on his soul. The idea of the International Islamic School actually started maybe around 1996. I don't know exactly when he started thinking about it, but it was materialized in 1996 when he appointed a committee called the School Curriculum Committee to take care and prepare for this big project that is actually an international Islamic school, a combination of two words together, as it is the case in the International Islamic University. So Al-Marhum used to have the idea of combining both in order to cater for the needs of Muslim children to have both world-class education and Islamic education at the same time, under the big umbrella of Islamization and integration of knowledge. After that, he formed the committee and he handpicked many scholars to be members of this committee headed by Dr. Frida Shama at that time. May Allah bless her wherever she is. And they started working on the project that was materialized in 1998 when the school opened its doors for the first time in September, end of August, beginning of September. They started the school with 31 students, around 31 students. And then they hired 26 teachers. One of them, my husband, Dr. Tahrawi, he is also an academician here at IUM, actually, and he was among the pioneers who started the school. So among 300 candidates, they selected 26. And Al-Marhum, he was actually very involved in this process. And he set up the criteria, how to select teachers. He put first that they have to believe in the project. This is a Muslim Ummah project. It's not just a school like any other school. So they have to believe in the vision of the school. They have to be, of course, practicing Muslims. And also they have to have high degrees and also international and locals, meaning that from all over the world plus Malaysians. And alhamdulillah, the school started small, then it started to grow. What did he contribute later to the school? Actually, he used to come the first months when the school opened, he used to come to the school and supervise the teachers and the administration by himself, almost daily in the first weeks. He appointed 2 principals. Although the school was small, the number of students is very small, the number of the staff is very small, but we used to have 2 principals, one for academics, Dr. Farial Al-Khaldi, she's in America now, and Dr. Mohiani Raziqin for administration or the management in general. Another thing also, he used to come and ask to meet the teachers. He doesn't want to hear a formal report from the administrators, but he used to call teachers and have direct discussion with them in order to see the progress on the ground and also what challenges they used to face. He used to be very, very concerned about the vision of the school, what type of Muslims we are going to produce. I remember in the interview when I went, the committee also used to contain high figures here. One of them is Tan Sri Harun Hashim, Allah yarham. And they used to ask us, do you believe in Islam as a moderate religion or extreme religion? I remember these questions. And then they asked me, sister, what do you think of female students swimming? Do you agree on this or not? So they want to make sure that the teachers, they carry also this moderate understanding and progressive understanding of Islam. So it was very, very crucial to him that the school is established on very strong pillars that combine both the Islamic teachings and also the progressive ideas that our modern world is following. Another thing also, Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman, Allah yarhamu, he also hated the idea of traditional schools. He doesn't want the International Islamic School to follow that pattern of traditional Islamic schools. He wants a modern, progressive international school that provides the good of the 2 worlds or the best of the 2 worlds in one package to be given to Muslim students from all over the world. Alhamdulillah, throughout the years, the school has grown big, and we used to have thousands of students, and they come from all over the world. At a certain point in time, we had 45 nationalities in the school coming from all over the world. And I believe that these graduates of IIS, when they flew far and they land somewhere, they will, inshallah, propagate the same vision and mission of the school, and all this will be sadaqah jariyah for him, inshallah. Another thing also is the teachers, how he used to advise the management to handle the teachers. He actually asked them to give them good salaries, make the teachers happy so that they can actually contribute a lot in their work. Number 2, he encouraged them to further their studies. Don't put any obstacles in front of teachers. Let them pursue their higher degrees. And he even made sure that the university itself accommodate to their timetable in the school. And I think my husband also benefit from this policy as well. So Al-Marhum, actually, he was a visionary. He was a leader. He was a man who held high makarim al-akhlaq al-Arabiya, if I can say, the good virtues, the good Arab virtues. That's why he was known and he was loved by all students for his generosity. I knew him before when he came here as a wife following my husband, and he was a master student. He told me a lot about his the character and the good virtues he believed in, and how much the students of IIUM used to love him. He used to help the students coming from conflict zones, from Bosnia, from Chechnya, from Algeria. At the time, we were passing through a civil war. And he used even to give from his money, his personal money, to sponsor some students. So his generosity actually is limitless, and may Allah bless his soul, inshallah. So his contribution to the school also continued later on. I met him after I left the school. I met him in 2014, and he was concerned about teaching thinking in school. And he even brought a book that he wrote by himself in Arabic, Jazirat al-Banna'in. And I think Prof. Rasnan is here. She's my witness. We met him together, and he was telling us or advising us how can we use these books to teach thinking in school. So at the time we had the project, maybe we can translate these books into English, and then we will, inshallah, implement them. But unfortunately, the project was never materialized. Maybe now it's high time to revive it again. Also, he was concerned about the school in terms of the mission and vision. I remember once also in the discussion, he was hoping that the school will continue to hold high all the values that he has set for it. That is actually integration in the curriculum, open to all Muslim kids, and also offering a good, reputable degree at the end. By the way, at the beginning, when he established the school, he even had the idea of creating a center of assessment whereby we can give our own degree or a certificate. I heard about this from Dr. Ferial Al-Khaldi. She said that actually he had this in mind. Why not? We create also something similar to Cambridge examination, that this international certificate that is actually, given in more than 140 countries in the world. So he had actually big plans for the school, big plans for the university as well. So may Allah bless his soul, inshallah, have mercy on him. How can I conclude this? Actually, he, as I said, he was a nobleman who held high the Arab makarim al-akhlaq. He was a visionary, he was a leader, and above all, he was a true Muslim. Who actually practiced what he believed him. Allah yarhamu, inshallah. May Allah have mercy on his soul. And that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Allahumma ameen. Thank you, sister.
I hope that I didn't exceed the time, Dr. Fatmir.
You are left another 2 minutes, you know.
Really? I can speak more then.
No, now since you stopped, perhaps you can.
It's okay. Actually, I prepared long notes, but since you limit the time to 10 minutes, so I just summarized it in few points.
No, mashallah, Sister Mira, you gave us a lot. You are very fast and very brief and very informative. Mashallah.
Thank you very much.
May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. So now we are coming to the end, and we have a special. We have a guest of honor tonight with us, and that is Sister Muna Abu Sulayman. And I believe that all of you know her, or most of you know her, and she has been very active in many activities, especially when I look at the society, related to society and having this kind of impact. And she has been active in many other activities, especially in Saudi Arabia, related to women. And of course, as we know that she is the daughter of our great learned scholar, Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman. And if I said that our father as well, because I consider him as such, I came here at the age of 19, and now, alhamdulillah, I get all this knowledge from this university, and I had the chance to meet him. So this is not the time that I can share with you this, but I just wanted to mention, since I'm introducing his daughter here, maybe she doesn't know many of us, but we know them, and we know her father very well, and we pray to Allah for all of them. Please, Sister Muna, you are welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. I don't know if Dr. Anis is here, but I just wanted to tell him he gave me the only C in my whole life. I don't remember the course right now, but I remember that he was very disappointed that Dr. Abdul Hamid's daughter did not do well. And so one of my most beautiful memories in my life is attending that 1 year, first year of IIU. It wasn't foundation year. I was a freshman, and having to experience firsthand at least 1 year of this integration between Islamic knowledge and normal knowledge has given me a lot of the khira, or a lot of ability to see the world differently later on. I just wanted to thank everybody who has actually talked about my dad. You guys saw a side of him that we didn't get to see a lot. You saw the professional person. You saw him in action. And pieces of him are in almost all of you. I know that a lot of you worked personally with him, carry a lot of lessons. It's a gift, inshallah, that your lives as well will be a legacy to others, and this kind of influence and this kind of love for Islam will be carried out. And so many of you gave many examples that I remember. One of them is about the cables, wanting the cables to be placed in the canopies. And I remember asking my father about this, and he said, maintenance in all Muslim countries is not very good. So I want to make sure we don't have to keep on digging on the earth and breaking down things. It has to be easy. And so others have talked about his attention to detail, a lot of details, whether it's about dorms or a hallway. And you think, why would he be able to think about so many details? And the reason is that his mission was very clear in his mind. The result that he wanted was very clear in his mind. And so it made his decisions easy, his thinking very as well clear. Because a lot of us, what happens is that we start making compromises and we start forgetting what the mission is and what the end result is, and we get lost in details, in budgetary issues, in all these kind of things. And I think one of his lessons for me was always that you have to think about what is the result. You start with the result and you reverse engineer everything else. And so it was easy to think about what is the comfort of teachers, because without good teachers who are not thinking about their income and their children, they can't deliver. There are limitations, but you always make the best decision that you can with the limitations you have, knowing what is the result that you want. It's not to save money, it is to have great teachers. And so these are the things that I know that IAU personnel, professionals all over the world will remember. And I know that the mission is larger than IIUM. IIUM is the crown jewel of this idea that Islam can be revived, and it can actually be the solution to a lot of issues that the world is facing. And everybody on this call believes in this. You wouldn't be here if you didn't, to your core, to your very DNA, to the inside of the DNA, to the mitochondria, the energy source that gives you energy every single morning, if you did not believe in that. And so we share this mission of making Islam understandable, Islam workable. But IIUM, as I said, is the crown jewel. Your families also need the same thinking. They need the same DNA to be put inside of them, whether it's your wives, your children, your other work. If you leave IIUM and you start something else, always keeping that mission in mind. Whatever work you do will always have the same impact, inshallah. And people like to say that my father was a workaholic and that my father was married to the university. And in a way he was, but I don't see him as a workaholic. And I don't think he ever saw himself as a workaholic. He was always just doing the work that needed to be done. Workaholics are people who may not be efficient, who may not know how to balance their life and work. And my father gave us a lot of his time. We always felt loved. We always felt that we were important to him. We shared him with the university. We shared him with his intellectual work, but he was always a very good father. And so he wasn't married to the university so much as he was married to Islam. And I think that's a small but significant difference. Allah yarhamu, he would be so proud to see everybody on this call. Thank you so much. I appreciate it giving me this opportunity to remember him. Allah yatikum al-afiyah.
Barakallah fiki, Sister Mona, Barakallah fiki. May Allah, we pray to Allah to bless his soul, inshallah. Allahumma ikfir lahu wa irhamhu wa ijal qabrahu rawdatan min riyadil jannah, inshallah. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for all of us to meet together in Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah. So as maybe I'll take, since I have moderated this session, So before I hand this over to Prof. Daud, the director of IMO, so I would like to thank all the speakers for sharing with us the wonderful moments that they had with Rahimahullah, Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman. And that is a great opportunity for all of us to learn. And the most important thing is to apply it in our day-to-day life. And as I see that being his, if I said that not biological son, but a son related to from Islamic point of view, as well as educated by him. So would like to carry on and to improve it, to make it better, inshallah. So that was what he wanted, to become better than he was, not just only to imitate him or to do whatever, but we have to improve and do things better, inshallah. So I think that is one of the missions that our university is having. And especially when I look at IMO, I just joined it recently. So I believe that this will be our mission and vision to continue and to make this practical, not just only to talk. So we have to be a real, if I say that, practitioners of this ideal ideas of if we want to respect him as much as we have talked tonight. So that would be my humble observation according to what the great professors have mentioned. And may Allah bless all of us and bless Prof. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulayman as well as his family. So now I'd like to hand over to Prof. Daud. Please, Prof.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Fatmir, for your work and effort. Before we end, I would like to invite Prof. Sayyid Arabi to give concluding remark. And maybe because just recently, Dr. Fathi Malkawi joined us. So I will leave also the floor later on for him for a few minutes as well. So please, Prof. Sayyid Arabi, the mic is yours. Can you open the mic for him?
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah bil alamin. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Brother Dr. Dawood, Fatmir, nice to see Professor Ismawi, Taher, Dato Jamil, Faris, Aziz Bagood, and the rest, including Muna. Muna, I think I saw her when we were bidding for a fund from Prince Al Walid long time ago, and Professor Sanu. Now, everybody has talked about the history of and his contributions of Al-Marhum Professor Abdul Hamid Sulayman. I just want to look at him in a different light as a post rector. In terms of administration, when we build a university or when we build an organization, we always like to have a good corporate culture. A good corporate culture. In other words, if we have a good corporate culture, we are able to advance the organization better. Yeah? And to have a good corporate culture, we need a good or a series of heroes in the past. These are the heroes we can always quote and cite, that in first and second generation we had this hero, second hero. Like in the history of Malaysia, we always cite first hero, Tunku Abdul Rahman. You can always cite him, yeah, and quote what he has done, what he has contributed. So likewise, we have a hero in the form of Abdul Hamid Sulayman. Yeah, and as we talk about heroes, we always talk about his contribution to history. What did he do to history? What did he do? You can see all the speakers talking about the contribution he has made to history. Yeah, he built the campus. He was very passionate to the university. Yeah. Number two is a hero or a series of heroes need to articulate the ideology. Very clear in that, so that we can always say, this is the hero, this is the ideology that he contributed. And what is the ideology? His mission and vision. Mission and vision. We always say it's good. Yeah, this is his mission and vision. The Islamization of knowledge. Yeah, and everywhere you go, every academic programs you talk about, this mission and vision will always creep through. Will always creep through, eh? And like even Professor Osnani mentioned, even the Islamic school, which is not Islamic, not IIUM, but a school that belongs to IIUM, you even have this ideology creeping through the academic program. And this ideology of mission and vision is very, very important when you go along with the history, because you believe that this mission and vision will help you to revive the Islamic culture of progress. And that is the mission of IIUM. It's not only another university, but it's a different university to revive the glory of Islam, to revive the glory of Islamic education, at the same time to revive the idea that Islam itself can contribute to the modern living. Number three, the heroes. What do? They set examples that we have to do. What are the examples? Hardworking, passion for details, yeah, vision of the future. And I think these are the examples that we, even Professor Kamal, myself, will always cite. We always cite the history of our university, the heroes of the past, the mission and vision of the past, and also the examples set by our heroes, so that we, the administrators manning the fort, will continue on with what they have done. And I think Professor Hamid Sulayman has laid down the foundation. He's a good hero for us to emulate, a good hero for us to cite, a good for us to say, we are proud of this man because we are proud of him to be a hero of IIUM. That, I think, is, to me, a contribution in terms of corporate culture for IIUM. So thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair, Prof. Sayyid Arabi, for this, you throw or you shed lights on very important and key issues for all of us. And if Prof. Fathi Malkawi is still around, I don't know whether he's still around or not. Prof. Fathi?
It's not in the list, Prof.
Okay, I think he just left, maybe.
Yeah,
at the end, I would like just to thank you all, thank our speakers, thanks our participant, and thanks Sister Muna for attending this event. And we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless Abu Sulayman and admit him to paradise, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And we end with kafarat al-majlis. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. And so